Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Recorded by Richter here, back with a brand new segment for you. This time it is my return segment of Best Songs of May. I know I'm a little bit late on this one, but I had a lot of stuff going on and I recorded a few other segments that I probably should have done it in a different order and gotten this one out of the way first, but that's where I'm at anyways. Today I have 22 songs on my Best of May list, so I won't spend a ton of time talking about each one of them. I'll just kind of mostly list them off, give you a tiny bit of facts here and there so we can keep it moving, because 22 songs is a lot. On the months that I have a smaller list, I will take more time to explore the artists and give you some history on them and stuff, but today I'll just give you the basics. So for my track one, and I will say that I have a lot of Detroiters on my list this time, so I was pretty happy about that. Song one for my Best of May is out of Boldy James and LP, and it's produced by Real Bad Man. If you're unfamiliar with Boldy, he's from Detroit. He's been having the most incredible year. He has been dropping an insane amount, like a project a month. It's crazy. The main reason I put this on here, It Factor, is because it's so nice to hear LP again. LP is from Company Flow and Run the Jewels, and Killer Mike's been off doing his own thing for the last couple years, so it's nice to hear LP rapping. Moving along, we got continued on to Detroit here with All-Star Jr. and Babytron, Baby Mama Vision Board. This song is unapologetically Detroit rap. It is definitely Detroit style rapping, which is kind of married to the Bays sound a little bit. Out in California, we kind of have a similar thing going, and Babytron is always in that cadence. He stays Detroit. So he stays in that cadence. And I was kind of new to All-Star JR, but he's also on that Detroit flow type of time. And Baby Mama Vision Board is just hilarious. It's just a great title to a fun song. That Babytron is always a lot of fun. He's just one of those rappers that just brings a lot of fun to the songs, and it brings a lot of Detroit elements to it. Moving along, we got Westside Gunn and Doechii with Egypt. This song is really cool because it kind of transpired from an interview that Ebro was doing with Doechii, where she mentioned being a giant Westside Gunn fan, and Griselda Camp saw it and they recruited her and they made it a phenomenal luxury rap song where they're just kind of bragging, tucking-ish, that type of stuff. Now we move away from hip-hop a little bit for track four. Track four, I have Moses Sumney and Haley Williams. Moses Sumney is probably my favorite current singer. His vocal range is absolutely insane. He can sing the lowest end of stuff and the highest falsetto. It is crazy. And then Haley Williams is from Paramore, who is a legend. I have been not even really so secret. I used to say I was a secret Paramore fan, and then after the years went on and I stopped caring about what other people think of me, I was like, yeah, I'm just a Paramore fan, straight up. So Moses Sumney and Haley, they sound great on this song called I Like It. I cannot wait to see what Moses's follow-up to his last project will be. He's just such a brilliant mind in the music world. And then track five, we're returning back to some Detroit rap with Rosgod, Isaac Castor, and Loki. Now, I'm new to Rosgod, but he smoked his verse. Isaac Castor and Loki are both Beats, Brews, and Points of View podcast alumni. We've had them on the show and we've interviewed them both, and they are just some of my favorite artists right now. I mean, Detroit and elsewhere, they're just phenomenal. I got Isaac's album back there right now, Isaac and Foulmouth, who I'm about to cut a longer form artist highlight on, and I'll probably get to Loki as well, because Loki is awesome. He's got this Weirdos Gang collective. He does a lot of great stuff for Detroit hip hop. So shout out to all of those guys. Their song is called Detroit Aliens. I highly recommend these guys. Like Isaac, man, like him and Jalen Frazier have been two of my favorite Detroit rappers for a minute now, and I'm really excited to do a longer form thing on what they're doing right now. Track six, we got Lunatic, Mick Jenkins, and Vel 9. I think Lunatic is the producer. I don't know much about, but Mick Jenkins and Vel 9 are two of my absolutely favorite MCs. The song is called Seekers. I've been waiting for more of my favorite dudes to hop on records with Vel. Because Vel the Wonder, Vel 9, I've done a whole artist highlight video on her, which I can post the link in the description. She is just incredible Latin artist out of LA, graffiti, raps, everything. She sounds like she could be part of Griselda. That's the kind of like gritty street type of energy she gives her music. And then Mick Jenkins. Mick Jenkins is just, I think everybody's afraid of him, bro. Like Joey Badass, he's like the one dude that was beefing with Joey that he didn't respond to, because I think he knows what type of time that is. Now we move on to track 7. We're back in Detroit again. Well, partially. There is a singer, like an electro pop singer named 8485, and she made a track with Detroit's own Danny Brown called Girl, which is so good in real life. And it's a super wacky electro pop track, and it's just shouts to Danny for continuing to get on the weirdest stuff ever and making it work so well. There is no one that attacks beats the way Danny does. Like 90% of the rap community would be afraid to hop on stuff like this. Like the stuff that he did with Atrocity Exhibition and Triple X, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, he makes the greatest choices, and he's been on a smaller feature run because of the artists he's choosing to work with are not your typical in the hip hop world. So I just gotta say shout out to Danny Brown. He's been killing it. Track 8 I won't spend too much time on. It's Anderson .Paak and No Worries with their brand new soulful record, Everybody Gets Down. Soulful and dancey at the same time, really. These guys are coming to town in September, and I don't miss Anderson .Paak concerts when he comes here. I've been waiting on him to tour with Knowledge so they can get their No Worries stuff out, and so I'm very excited. Knowledge is one of the greatest hip-hop producers of all time, and Makami, pay the man. If you know, you know. Moving on along, we have King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, which is this progressive psychedelic rock band out of Australia that I have just been a giant fan of. I mentioned Boldy James with being prolific and putting out a ton of material, and these guys are like the rock equivalent of that. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard drop tons of music, and they're all writers, every band member, and they all have different tastes. So you never truly know what you're gonna get from King Gizzard, which is dope. Like you really can't box them in, and so their audience can't really get married to a sound. Moving along in is someone that I've been talking about. I did a whole artist segment or artist highlight on him as well, and that would be North Carolina's own Nick Grant, and the song is called Pass It On, which is the lead single from his new album that will be coming out later in the year, which he actually broke the news on my Twitter account, which was pretty dope. So all the artist highlights that I have for these people that are on my list, I will also link in the description. So if you want to get like some more knowledge on them, you can go ahead and just click right on and continue along with that way. But yeah, Nick Grant, incredible. Another person that I've made an artist highlight on is Shay Noor out of Buffalo, New York. She is incredible, and she's gearing up for a full-length project with who I think is the best Detroit rapper of all time, and that's Elzhi. A lot of people put M or Royce there. I personally think Elzhi, bar for bar. Like you could obviously say that M's had more impactful albums, stuff like that, because of the popularity of it and this and that, but there is nobody. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in hip-hop that can out-rap Elzhi. I really don't. I really do. I cannot believe that he's got a project coming with Shay, who has been one of my newest favorites for a minute now. You guys have seen me do the videos on her and stuff, so super dope. Track 12, we got Eric the Architect and Joyce Rice. Eric the Architect comes from Flatbush Zombies. Joyce Rice is an R&B singer from San Diego, who I think I got hip to from being on featured on Anderson .Paak's music. So that's kind of how I found out about her. But they have a really like upbeat, dope song out right now called Revival, and I've been really an advocate and a fan of the solo work Eric the Architect out of Flatbush Zombies has been doing. His last project was incredible. The name is escaping me right now off the top of my head, but Eric the Architect, incredible. I really am a big fan of that project. Moving on to track 13, we have the Southern California soulful, almost like reminiscent of 50s, 60s style music, like the soul that they make. And this band is called The Sacred Souls. They have a song called We Don't Have to Be Alone, and they just kind of like hit me in that nostalgic feel of the stuff that I was raised on. My parents raised me on Motown music, Stevie Wonder, Sly Stone, rest in peace to Sly Stone, who we lost over the weekend. That type of music was the type of music that was playing in my house, along with some of the white bands too. Beatles and stuff was there too. My parents were more into like soul and R&B and Motown stuff than like the classic rock stuff. So that's kind of how I became the way I am, I think. But anyways, moving along from The Sacred Souls, we have someone that I mentioned their camp earlier, and that would be out of the Pro Era camp. Nick Caution has a song called Thousand Arrows that I think just sounds so good, man. I had been waiting for Nick to pop out and kind of address some of the smaller guys during the beef, because everybody was firing at Joey Badass. And so it was nice to see CJ Fly dropping songs, and then Nick Caution came out and dropped songs, and they got Kirk Knight on the beat. I have always been a giant Pro Era fan, and even though I also am a giant Ray Vaughn fan, and I think his project is one of the best of the year, if not the best of the year. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that. And on to track 15. This is a more underground rapper, but I mean, if you know, you know, he's just one of the most brilliant. I got hit to him by being a fan of the Hot 97's morning show and listening to Rosenberg. He's always championed Homeboy Sandman. And Homeboy Sandman has a brand new, kind of abrasive in the production song out called Infinite Pockets featuring Brand the Builder. And I just think it's just really powerful stuff. I think Homeboy Sandman is one of the most poetic wordsmiths that hip hop has to offer. And he just doesn't care about being mainstream at all. He's not interested in interviews. He's not interested in chasing charts, like at all. Rosenberg has legitimately tried to get him to ascend up the ranks, and he's just not interested in it. He's kind of like a Brownsville cop who just like is really in it because he just loves to rap, and that's it. Rest in peace to Ka, man. Ka was a firefighter his whole career as well as a rapper, and still putting out incredible bodies of work. So shouts to Ka, man. Rest in peace. Moving on from that, as I'm actually a total 180 from the hip hop world, and I'm dipping my toes into the world of country. So as I've stated in the episode about techno, country music is definitely something that I know the least about outside, like in the music world. And I'm not saying I don't like it. I just know the least about it. It didn't catch my ear as quick as other styles of music did. But I have a really close friend, Andy Case, who runs Midwestern Gentleman, which is a lifestyle branding publication that you can check out. He's into the good stuff. Like, he knows like the real good, real traditional country, and like the ones that are actually coming from a place of country making it. He's the one that put me onto Sturgill Simpson and Tyler Childers, and now from being a fan of those guys and following them on my DSPs and stuff, I came across this artist, Zach Russell, out of East Tennessee, who I've been really paying attention to over the last couple of years. He's incredible, man, and he's not afraid to touch on some stuff in country music that you don't hear typically out of a lot of artists. He made this new song called Jericho's Walls that is like really deep, and it talks about conflict going on in Palestine between Palestinians and Israelis, and he kind of talks about it. The overall messages in it is how people weaponize God to fit their agendas, and that's, I think, really powerful stuff. And I think a lot of people are afraid to touch on that subject matter, but it's so sad to see Gaza being just almost ethnically cleansed, and it is a really sad time, and it's good to see that artists are inspired to make music that is intimidating to make. So shout out to Zach on that one. And then 17, I'm not going to spend any time on. You already know I've made a full-length video on them. My boy Frost is Red, AV Club, they got their single finally out, Too Many Beers, that I broke down. I already broke down this single because I got an early listen to it on my artist highlight, but it's finally out now, which the video just came out to it. So go to YouTube and run up Frost is Red's video for Too Many Beers. They really have worked their butts off on this stuff, so shout out to them. They even got Omar Cross, who plays guitar in Big Sean's live band, to play on this track, so super dope. Staying in Detroit with Bruiser Wolf and Sango, Lock In. Bruiser Wolf, I picked this one because this was the only track that was out. Well, actually, I think the album might have come out in the very end of May, but I hadn't spent a lot of time yet because it was like May 30th, I think, is when Potluck by Bruiser Wolf dropped. But shout out to Bruiser Wolf, another Bruiser Brigade member like Danny Brown, and he's just really grown on me, man. One thing that I really want to stress on this about Bruiser Wolf is Potluck is funny, man. As much game as he's giving in the bars, he's also giving you really great humor. It's something you can laugh at while you're listening, which is like such an underappreciated, underrated quality in hip hop. Not enough people are funny. Like, let's be funny again. It's fun to have comedy in music. It really is. So shout out to Bruiser on that. And he's deep too. He's not just all laughs. He's really deep too and can pack a lot into a small amount of words. So shout out to Bruiser. 19 is someone I just bought concert tickets for. That's Clips, No Malice, Pusha T. They're back after 15 years with ace trumpets like they never left. They still sound phenomenal, and I am so happy that I'm about to see them at the Masonic Temple. It's such a small venue. Tickets were like 89 bucks, but man, I'd pay more money to see artists I love in smaller venues than where I just saw Kendrick at Ford Field, which it was phenomenal, and I'm gonna do a whole video on Kendrick, but it's the intimacy of like a Masonic Temple. Can't match it, man. You cannot match it. Plus the sound. Moving on, we have one of my favorite artists out of PG County, Maryland, IDK, mixed with legendary hip-hop producer No ID. They dropped a new song called Winston Wolf, and I don't think nearly enough people talk about IDK. I think it's really shameful. I don't see hip-hop media covering him like he should, outside of like Rosenberg, who is like a friend of his. And even Rosenberg hasn't talked about him in a while. Well, I think he had him on One App not too long ago. So let me backtrack that. Rosenberg still talks about IDK for sure, but I don't think enough people do. So people should go run to IDK. And then my last two tracks here, I've got Elzai on here for a second time, man. Track 21 is a song by Jericho Jackson, Elzai, Crisis, and Damogenesis called Last Laugh. I was unfamiliar with Jericho Jackson and Crisis prior to this. Big fans of Damogenesis and Elzai. Elzai just starts this song off with just such a bang, man. Like, his bars are just unmatched. No one can keep up with the way that he raps to me. It's just so crazy. And then another one of my favorite underground rappers to close this puppy out at track 22. That's Odyssey with Natural Selection. This is one of the 4 songs on his new EP. And I think this is the best material out of Odyssey since the Iceberg in 2017. I think topically it's there for me. I love stuff that digs deep, especially when we're going through the turbulent times that we're living in this country. I think it's awesome when artists lean into that and are inspired by the evils of the world and try to use it to make great art. And that's exactly what Odyssey did with this track. That's my 22 songs. I did my best to fit it in within like 20 minutes. So that's what I have for you today. I have 2 film reviews that are also going to be coming out. But earlier I dropped a artist highlight on Sylvester in honor of Pride Month, which is in June here. And I also did an artist highlight on my boys Doogatron, which is a techno band from the Detroit area here. So I have a lot of stuff, a review on Eckhart Tolle. Like, just head over to the Recorded by Richter channel, and if you could like it, share it, subscribe to it, whatever, that would be amazing. If not, that's okay too. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.